Hey everybody, Rudy here from the Home Improvement Channel with another video helping you fix things around the house. In this video, I'm going to show you how to install this vinyl railing in concrete. It's the same procedure for wood, but I'm going to show you how to put the concrete mounts in the concrete, and we're going to put it together and show you how to take some measurements for the stairs and stuff like that. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Okay, as you can see here, I've already installed some of the posts. This one here is at the bottom of the step. This is the bracket that goes to the concrete. One thing I wanted to point out to you that should be obvious: don't go too close to the edge of the concrete on the step with this bracket, because if you're drilling holes right here, what happened to me a long time ago was I was too close to the edge and my drill bit cracked off the whole corner of the concrete right there. So make sure you're in enough. I'm probably about 2 inches in right here. 2 inches here would be okay. I'm a little more than that because I have to line up with the top rail, and there was already a hole in the concrete where the old metal rail was, so I had to stay with that. But just a tip right there, don't go too close to the edge of the step or you'll possibly blow it out, and then there'll be a whole lot of sadness. And there's the other two rails over there. I saved the last one to show on the video how I drill the holes and actually attach the bracket to the concrete. They're called wise mounts. I don't know how wise they are, but that's what they call them. Okay, the mount comes with this piece of metal right here. This is the leveling plate. You can use this leveling plate as a pattern. So what I've done here is I've put the leveling plate in the exact spot that I want the rail, and I just took a pencil and drew through the holes to mark the concrete. Go ahead and clean out the holes with a vacuum cleaner. Alright, I got my leveling plate on there and the holes seem to be lined up. Got them all vacuumed out very well. And let's put our post in there. Here's what the screws look like. They go in very tight. So you got to be careful with these. It's so tight, it's to the point that you think you're going to break them off. So far I've been lucky, and I hope that that continues that trend. So you can use an impact on these, but the impact isn't really strong enough. So I found I had to take over with a ratchet and a socket. So just drive it in as far as it'll go. Let me get them started first. Okay, so I finally got all these concrete bolts tightened up. Feels pretty good. You just got to be very patient. You can easily break those bolts off if you get in a hurry. So once you get the bolts tight, you check the level, both sides. This post is actually pretty plumb, so I don't need to add anything. But they have 4 little holes here that you can add these little blue bolts to and thread them in there, and it'll lift up that side. This doesn't need anything, so I'm not going to bother with that, but you get the idea. Okay, once you're satisfied with that, put these guys on there. This is what catches the sleeve that comes over it, and then the railing will screw into this so that you have something to screw to. Okay, so next, once you're satisfied with your post, you got to measure between the posts, and I've got about 48 3/4. Yours is going to be different. Make sure you measure bottom and top because you might have a difference there. The instruction says to take away a 1/4 of an inch, so you have an 1/8 of an inch on each side. I found that that's a little bit too tight when you're trying to put it together, so I usually take off about 3/8. That's up to you. Follow the instructions, and on the first one you'll probably get mad, and on the second one you'll cut it 3/8. But that's my advice. Alright, I've went ahead and mounted my brackets on the posts, and I took a measurement again, and going to cut the top and the bottom. There's a metal inner piece that goes to this thing. Some people say they can cut it on a chop saw, but I'm not going to destroy my blade. You can use a hacksaw or an angle grinder, something like that. It's made out of aluminum, so I'm not going to cut it with this, but once I cut this, then I'll take another measurement and I'll cut the metal piece, the sleeve that goes inside of here. Oh, and did I mention, when you take the measurement, measure the same distance from each side, from each end. That way your pickets wind up evenly spaced. If you just cut it the length, you might wind up with a nice gap on one side and the picket is slammed up against a post on the other side. So keep that in mind too. So just slip it between the brackets. I'm going to check it for level. Hey, it's right on the money. Perfect. So just put the trim package on, and that's it. Alright, sorry if this is going to get a little jittery. I'm hand holding the camera to kind of show you what I've been doing here. Here's how I do the stairs. What I do is I clamp the full section of railing on there. As you can see, I've got it clamped right here, and then I've got something holding the top. And then once you clamp it, you put in 2 pickets and you level the pickets, make sure they're plumb. Okay, then you can get a mark on the other side. I don't know if you can see my marks there. Marks there, here, and down there. Also what I did is I marked the area that I'm gonna install the brackets. This is a good opportunity right now to do that. Down there too, and here too. That way the brackets can already be on once you're ready to install. One thing I wanted to mention, when you make all these marks, if your system has a piece of aluminum that goes in that looks like an H, like that, make sure that it's installed, because as you can see, it's an H there, and the picket, if you don't have that installed, will go all the way to the top, and then the rail will be too low and all your marks will be screwed up. So make sure you have that sleeve in there before you make any marks on there. So I'm going to go ahead and cut everything. Alright, as you can see, I've got the bottom rail mounted. One thing I wanted to point out, make sure you have this skirt right here in place before you put that bottom rail on. And also another thing is these end caps, sometimes, depending depending on what brand you have, they split apart and sometimes they don't. These don't split apart, so make sure those are in place too before you get started putting the rail on, otherwise it's not going to fit. Also, as I mentioned earlier, when I had the rail clamped here, I marked where my brackets went. Here's the bracket. You can't see this one, but there's another one here, and of course there's two more on the bottom. Alright, once you get all your screws in your brackets, just slide these back up on there. Usually they just snap on, but this one's being real tight. There we went. Alright guys, that's how I put on these vinyl rails in concrete, solid as can be. If you enjoyed this video, click on that thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I come out with videos like this as often as I can. Thanks for watching.